Hi there, I'm Linda Taylor and this is Best of Both Worlds. Today, the second part of Grandma's Garden Extravaganza. Thank you for joining me for the second part of the diamond-shaped Grandma's Garden. Sorry, I've called it a triangle for a long time, but it's a diamond flower. And so we're going to finish that, and I will show you some other ideas. One of them is this one, some other diamond-shaped quilts. So let's get started. Okay, I am marking this one again like this from point to point. I'm going to make a straight line here. You could also make a little circle in the middle. There we go. And I'll show you what I'm doing. I'm going to stitch up to the edge of the circle and then follow the yellow line over and just come up a little ways, maybe 2 or 3 stitches, and then up to the circle and over just a little bit, and then up to the edge of the circle and over, and then a little. These lines really help me to keep it in the right direction. I've actually tried it without them, and I do get a little mixed up. There is our center. Isn't that pretty? And the rest of this is something really easy, but it's very important that you have your direction. These are going that direction, that's going that direction. I'm telling you, I really get mixed up if I don't have a direction. So we're simply going up and down, up and down, and down. You can see this one goes the other direction. So I'm going sideways now. This one comes this way. Thank goodness for those marks to help me. And on this one, I'm going to come this way, like I'm supposed to, and then I'm going to come over here so I can grab this top one like this, and then go back this way. I'm going to follow that over just a little because I need to get into the next space. And usually I do use just, don't usually use colored thread on Grandma's Gardens because there's so many colors, and this is the color that would have been used if it was hand quilting, although they wouldn't have done this much quilting. Now in the outside, I'm going to do a feather, and it's only a half of a feather. So I just start like this, and I come up, and I come back down. Come up here like this, and come back down. Now notice, you don't have a straight line to come back down to. So wherever your line is, you come back down. And this little piece is actually hand pieced, a little piece of fabric pieced on that. She ran out. Oh, it's so cute. Oh, precious. And that's all over the quilt. She really scrambled to get what she needed. These have a direction, and so at the top part of this, you can see I'm coming back almost to the middle with these, and that's okay because you have to continue to have, they're laying down, lay down, lay down, lay down. The first time I did a feather in these hexagons, I was really kind of worried if I was doing the right thing. And wow, it turned out so good. I wondered why I hadn't done it before. You see how I kind of come back to the same area, don't go too far when I'm reaching out like that. And then back here, and I'm right back where I started. This one is a little bit more complicated. but I think even beginners can do it, and if you do it a lot on paper, we will put just circles for like little seeds in the middle, but then we're going to treat from here around like that, and that will be a feather, and then it will be from the middle of this and the middle of this one up and around, and the same thing over here from the middle of that to the middle of that. And in between we will just do kind of like a little leaf. And so let me get started and you'll kind of have an idea of what we're doing. First we're going to put those circles in. So if you just come across like this and then you come back and do a circle. So follow the hexagon and then come back and do a circle. Follow the hexagon, come back and do a circle. So it has a flat side to it. And we're just following that hexagon and coming back. Now this one I'm going to come around through the middle like that, and then follow that one back and come around, and that gets all of my circles in there. Now I'll begin in the other areas. I'm going to kind of follow this seam up like this, come around and follow that back down. And then as I come over, I'm going to come halfway with a feather, halfway, 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 and back around. These are kissing feathers. And touch, and touch, and touch. So that is a feather within a feather. And then in this area, I am just doing a curvy, like a stem or a leaf. And then I'm going to come all the way up and all the way down there on my lines. And you actually have a seam here, so you know how far to come over with your feathers, because you do want to come halfway over with these beautiful feathers, and then a little one here, swing around the top, and then kiss that feather, and then back. And if you don't get exactly the same number of feathers on both sides, that's okay, but if you can, it's really quite nice to match them up. There, and one more. And then in this area again, just sort of a nice little curvy stem. So then I'll come up here again and we'll continue halfway with our feathers. They're climbing up. This is just the long arm feather, over, kiss, and then back. Let me just get that out of the way and then it won't bother anybody, including me. Okay. So now we're going to come all the way up again. So you can see this again. Okay. Halfway over, back to my stem. There we go. Kissing feather, and then reverse and come back. And I'm going to show you that on paper too, so you can see it, so don't panic. You're just seeing it kind of in real time now. And there is my last stem. I love the texture that brings to those plain fabric areas. It's just so beautiful. I love the center of this one. I'm going to come down and I'm going to do like an arrow. Come over to the other side, and as I come back I'll make that arrow. Go to the middle and come over here. And you can make the arrow the same direction or different depending on what you want to do. But I love the look of it when I'm finished. Now what I'm going to do for this one I think is just incredibly beautiful, but so easy. So what you're going to do is make all the way up and over back down to the seam. All the way up and over back down to the seam. And while you're here, go ahead and put a curl in there, and then all the way up and over to the seam. All the way up and over to the seam. There we go. all the way up. Now, what we're doing is kind of like the orange peel. So we're going to come up like this, kind of and then over here. And all you have to do is remember to go right there on that point. And back down, and back down. You're making a beautiful flower in here. Wasn't that simple? That's really, really easy. Now on the outside, I simply went from side to side. I just wanted it to be a major jump, like that, and then I just went into the next one. So they're all straight lines. They don't have to be, they're not really, don't have to be in a pattern, actually. Over. It's almost like making a star. So it's just geometric meandering, basically. But you just use the seams as part of that. So fun, and it makes a wonderful texture. We're done. This center you're going to love. You can see again that I marked from point to point on all of that. And so I go up and then I have to come back down all the way like this. So those are double lines. And then I come back and I make a smaller V shape inside each of them. And it makes like a star in the middle. Awesome. Now, you're going to just make a line, and you're going to be a little above the center here, and a little below the center here, and then up here to the center, and then here again below, here again above. So it's above, below, like that. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So I'm a little bit below. Now I'm going to come up there, and then I come down, then I come up, then I come down, up, down, up. So you make a design like that. So it's not just completely oval. And this one is probably a little bit more advanced for people who need to just work on their feathers a little bit, because we're putting a whole feather in here. So we are going to begin by just coming like this, coming halfway there, halfway. Now watch as I'm in this top, because I'm coming back like this to change the direction. And I'll do one more there, and then I'm going to put a little curl in the middle like that, with kind of like a little ribbon. And then continue with my feathers. Some of them are longer, some of them are shorter. And this is a really tiny area. So we come up, come around, make another one, and then come make a little curl, and then continue with our feathers like this. And now we're going to do them on the outside. So we're going to reach over like that. Let me cut this thread. And we'll just continue around all the outside. And you can do whatever feather you like here, whatever you're good at. This one again is just the long arm feather. As I'm reaching out, it's just sideways. It's just really a teardrop laying sideways. Come back to the stem each time. You see that? Come back to the stem. Some feathers are longer, some are shorter. Reach out to those points. There we go. Oh, that's just so curly and so cute. Now on the outside, I decided just to do a leaf with a stem in it. And then I just follow that like 1/8 of an inch. A leaf with a stem in it. So how easy is that? And I just go right up, keeping it perpendicular there. And this one, a leaf. There's my stem coming down. So it's like half circle, and then put a stem in it. But don't stitch in the ditch. Just stay right on the side, right there, like that. Okay. If it's an antique quilt. I mean, you can do it if you want to. I don't care, but I'm just suggesting for the integrity of the quilt, probably not. And this will just kind of give it that open look in those areas, which just kind of stand up there with your batting. So cool. I have done all of these freehand today, but they will all be computerized if you need them to be computerized for your machine. And I am working on my vision, so it's all hand guided. I left this one without anything in the outside just because I love it. So I thought I'll just have one that's a little different. Of course, they're all different. Okay, let me just talk about very quickly some of these other ways that you can do these diamond-shaped grandma's gardens. I adore this quilt, and I think everyone that passed it by did so because it had so much fullness in the border, but that didn't bother me at all. It is amazing. You can see that sometimes you can see the star in it, so it has stars in it, and then sometimes you see the building blocks. Isn't that cool? I love it. Here's a close-up of one of the flowers. So you can see I did this in the 90s, so I did all of them the same, which I don't do anymore, but this worked for this one. Here's another one that I got really early on in the 90s. And I hardly knew what I was doing. I wasn't sure at all how to quilt it. But I've never seen one like this since, but I know that they're out there. It's just one big triangular octagon put together. I guess that's how you'd say it. But I just did triangle after triangle and then did it like a barn raising design, different designs as it went out to the edge. But I love it. Now also on the back of this quilt, I used another quilt top that I had bought that was really not very, well, the fabric wasn't very good quality and it wasn't well pieced, but you can't pass them up. Somebody did all that work by hand. So I used it for the backing and I love it. I do that quite often. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a lot of fun with whatever grandma's gardens you choose. All of these designs will go on any shape of a grandma's garden. So, always a pleasure. See you next time.